Node 564560 connected to node 564562.
WU7N testing.
WU7N, your SK9PQ. You sound good to me.
Well, good evening, Bob. I guess we got 2 minutes to net.
Yes, I am Echolink only tonight, but one new wrinkle is I'm going to see if I can observe the video output and not overload my hotspot on my phone. We'll see how it goes. Standing by for net. This is K9PQ.
Node 386568 connected to node 56456.
K7ITX. Testing. Richard, you sounded really good. This is K9PQ, also on Echolink, as you are tonight.
You as well, Bob. You sound great.
Good evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society broadcasts in digital amateur television in the DVB-T format. We transmit on 70 centimeters to a repeater on Cougar Mountain that spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. Find out more about our organization, please Google WW7ATS. That's Google WW7ATS. That will take you to our homepage on the internet. There you'll see the exact frequencies we transmit and receive on. Also, you'll find a link to YouTube where we stream our nets held Wednesdays and Saturdays. Also, we simulcast our audio on the WW7STR's 2-meter repeater, 147.08 with a tone of 103.5. So with that, again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. I'll pause in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact before the net gets fully underway. Again, welcome back to the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. Checked in already this evening is Ron, KD7QKU in Tacoma. Bob, K9PQ. Richard, K7ITX. Jim, N7QO in Covington. James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue. Carlos, AD7NP in Clyde Hill. And myself, Dave, KD7ZYM. Is there anybody else wishing to check in? Hearing none, we'll get it started. Let's start off with Ron, KD7QKU in Tacoma.
Well, good evening, everybody. This is Ron, KD7QKU over here in North Tacoma. Do you hear me? Yes, okay. Carlos, I couldn't say your name, Carlos. I haven't seen you for so long. Anyway, I was just telling Richard, he asked me about my brother-in-law's TV. Well, my brother-in-law, they have a nice big TV set. It's an LG, and it has a Fire Stick in it. Anyway, once you get it set up, you don't need to use the remote for the TV. You just use the Fire Stick remote. Well, I don't know. My brother-in-law is getting pretty forgetful, and anyway, he messed it up so bad. And then, lo and behold, something happened to the remote control for the TV set. So I had to order a new remote control. That was $5.99. Got it the next day. Went over and got the TV working. But I don't know. They messed it up so bad it was just unrealistic. It was like the TV had to be registered and everything else. You had to choose language. I just don't know what they did. But anyway, I got it all fixed, and then I had to do the same thing with the Fire Stick, and I got it all registered and got everything working. And then I suggested to my sister-in-law, Phyllis, I said, maybe we could put this remote someplace where it wouldn't, get handled again and mess things up. So she said, yeah, no, I'll put it in the file cabinet with the stuff from the TV set. So I said, okay. So anyway, she told me this morning everything's working fine so far, so hopefully it'll continue. Well, I have another camera here. I have tons of connectors, but I don't have a double BNC male, so I just ordered some. And then I have another little cam I'm going to try. I kind of wanted to free up this camcorder here. It's my favorite, and I know how to operate it. I have this other one I bought on Amazon Monday, and I don't really know how to operate it. It came with a remote control, and you can shut it off with the remote control, but I can't seem to start it with the remote control. And there's nothing in the little instruction manual about it. In fact, the little instruction manual doesn't tell hardly anything. It's ridiculous. So I don't know. I would like to figure out a little bit more about the little camcorder. I'd like to change the way the color setting in the picture, but I don't know if I can. All right, well, enough for me, I guess. Send it back to Net, KD7ZYM in a group, KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, thanks for that. Let's go to Bob, K9PQ. What say you, Bob?
Well, good evening, everybody. Well, I'm using Echolink to get in and to listen, but I am looking at the pictures on the streaming output, and I'm getting about one image every 10 seconds or so. So I did see you out there, Ron, but just in a few pieces or a few snapshots, let's say. Well, today, as has been my habit, Wednesdays are my moving days. So I moved from Bayview State Park to Fort Flagler State Park. It was also laundry day and grocery shopping day, so I didn't get here till it was after 5, and with the sun setting earlier, I basically just got myself set up in place, and I'll go out exploring tomorrow. But I'm looking forward to that. At Bayview, it's a very nice state park, but there's not a lot really to see around there. There is a view of the bay, and at times I'm sure it's really interesting to see, because on a low tide it goes way out and there's mud flats. But for this whole time that I've been going to Bayview on 2 occasions now this fall, the low tides have been in the middle of the night, and so it didn't really help me at all. But here, there's the old fort, and I'll be able to see the emplacements. And I believe I have never been here before. I've been just next door to Fort Worden at Port Townsend, and I went through Port Townsend to get here. You drive south a little bit, and then you get out onto Indian Island, and then Montemayor Island, I think, is the other one. I think that's the island I'm on right now, and that's where you find Fort Flagler all the way at the north end. So I can look across the water from my campsite and see Port Townsend. It's just about a mile away over the water. It was probably about an hour's drive to get here. Well, maybe less than that, but it took a while to get here from Port Townsend. Okay, I'll save some for later. This is K9PQ, back to Net Control.
K9PQ, thanks for that on 2 meters. Let's do another 2-meter connection with Richard, K7ITX. And again for IT, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net.
Okay, yeah. Good evening, everyone. This is Richard, K7ITX. I'm at the Northwest Kidney Center on East Hill, Kent, here for my dialysis. I'm about halfway through. Been watching the World Series, which looks like Toronto is having their way with the Dodgers. So it hasn't been that exciting to watch. So I look forward to talking to you guys. Bob, Fort Flagler State Park. Yeah, I've been there, camped there, probably right in the same area you are. If you're down by on the beach, that is. I think there's a couple places other than the beach that you can camp. The thing that always interested me about Fort Flagler and Fort Warden, or the three state parks that were used to be gun emplacements. Well, the gun emplacements, were actually put in there by Teddy Roosevelt to persuade the Spanish not to come into Puget Sound, which they never did. And the guns were never used, even though they were there. They were removed and shipped during World War I to Europe, and they were used to fight the Germans at that time. So that's a little bit of history that I had no idea about until I camped at Fort Flagler, or it was Fort Warden, maybe one of the two, where I read all about it. And there's a lot of hiking to do at Fort Flagler, so hopefully you'll have a sunny day like we had today. It's beautiful weather at my house. So with that, I'll pass it on to Net Control. This is Richard, K7ITX. Back to Net Control.
K7ITX, thanks for that. Get a quick ID here again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. Also on 2 meters, let's get a hold of Jim, N7QO in Covington.
Dave, Jim sent an email that he won't be on the net tonight. K9PQ, back to you.
K9PQ, thanks for that. Well, let's move on to James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue.
Well, thank you, Dave. This is James, WU7N. I need to set up my Streamlabs here. It'll take just a second. I was waiting for the Jim cue, and I didn't know he would not be on tonight. So I'm just going to be probably about 15 seconds. Well, it's starting now. Let me see how long it takes. 1, 2, 3, 4, testing, WU7N, whiskey, UC4. All right, sounds like I am on the air and operational. I've got a similar problem that Bob has, but no excuse for it. I'm still on my CenturyLink internet. I guess it's kind of like fixing the broken toaster. I just don't want to stop because that would be letting the toaster win. I don't know what CenturyLink is going to do. The last in this CenturyLink saga, the Washington Utilities and Transportation Commission closed my complaint, which I never was really clear that I had ever really started a complaint, but I guess I had. But they sent me a very long-winded email, and at the bottom saying they're closing the complaint and I should get telecommunication services elsewhere. But as long as I want to stay with CenturyLink, they're supposed to somehow auto credit me for my lost service time. So I'm in the market for other alternatives, looking at satellite services, but they all seem to be pretty pricey. But I guess when you compare it to free that doesn't work half the time, it's kind of a balance there, isn't it? Today I tried to use my voice line to call down to Olympia to talk to somebody down there at Camp Murray, and the hum was so bad I could barely hear the guy over the loud, unbalanced hum. So, well, anyway, for all the people out there listening that are over the age of 65, remember your Medicare open enrollment ends December 7th. I got a notice today that there's a place you can go to try and compare what you have now compared to what you could have and decide whether you want to leave it alone or change it. So that's news you can use. Carlos, welcome back. We look forward to hearing about your adventures. Understand you did quite a bit of FT8 action while you were gone. I saw your pictures of the satellite dish. Looked pretty impressive. And Bob, I think you'll enjoy your stay at Flagler, moving from Bayview to Flagler. I wasn't aware that it was open at this time of the year. Last year, I went, maybe it was Fort Worden that closes, or maybe it's just the tours or the docents shut down or something, and maybe the park stays open. Maybe I missed the details on that. I went with a family, a friend of mine I've known for, 40 years now. His entire family was out here, and we hiked around there and kind of ran out of daylight, as is the case when you're in the very late fall. But it was just, to me, it was just fascinating. The whole giant, I think it was Fort Worden, the big giant forts, and they had in there that I guess there was 3 forts that covered the entrance to Puget Sound there. But Richard, thank you very much. I did not know that history, that they had moved the guns during World War I to go fight in Europe. I did not know that. That must have been quite an engineering accomplishment to get them out of those mounts and somehow get them on a ship and then get them over there and get them someplace where they could do something. Because I looked at those the photographs, and I mean, those were some really big guns. And of course, the shells too were absolutely huge. But that was all very interesting, and I'd like to go back down there again sometime. Bob, you'll need to give us more details. You're at Flagler, and you're camping, so I was curious to know if that's a state park. I guess it is a state park. And you mentioned that pass, I think, for $75 or something. So I would probably do something like that, and maybe catch that cycle at the beginning of next year in January. The same friend, by the way, just coincidentally was here and was passing through SeaTac Airport. So I was able to catch dinner with him and his family at an Applebee's next to SeaTac, and then had some time chatting with him at their hotel. Really interesting man, a very interesting career. 2 brilliant adult kids now, who both work at major companies, one on satellite communications and the other on AI. And I learned a new term, which I'll tell you about next time around, involving AI. So this is James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue.
WU7N, thanks with that. And for information, the ball game's over. Blue Jays took the 5th game, 6-1 is the final. So anyway, Blue Jays atop. To see where it goes from there. And with that news out of the way, let's go to Carlos, 87 NP in Clyde Hill. What say you?
Okay, let's see if we have audio. It does seem like we have audio. I don't know if it's too low. Let me raise a little bit. You guys will let me know if the audio level was okay or was it too low. I'm testing a new microphone. It's good. Thank you, Ron. Testing a new microphone setup. Oops. And it seems to be working. It's good to see you all. That's right. I was out for a little bit. I was in Portugal for a week. It was my dad's birthday. He turned 91, so it was a good experience to be there. And as I'd mentioned over on our text group, I have my QO100 satellite setup right now just for the narrowband, the audio. I'm not doing the TV, although I have a bunch of friends and colleagues that are doing the TV channel there, which is also quite interesting. But having a geostationary satellite that covers most of Africa, Europe, goes all the way to Brazil, makes it for a very interesting sequence. I mean, as I was looking for my log, and as I mentioned, I made more than kind of 300 contacts just on sitting on the FT8 frequency. And I mean, if I would just scroll to this list, I got 110 confirmed contacts out of it with 46 countries. So as I said, if I go to the sequence, England, Austria, Poland, Germany, South Africa, Russia, Latvia, Sweden. So it's quite interesting to be there just with the satellite setup and making all these contacts around the world. So that was enjoyable. Traveling on airplanes these days is always a little unpredictable. So as I got, I think I was texting you guys on when I was waiting for my first flight. And so I got on the first flight, sitting down, they closed the doors, and the captain shows up on the hallway and saying that, well, you're probably wondering why I'm here instead of the cockpit. And if you're guessing that I have bad news for you, you're right. So we proceed to tell us that due to bad weather in Amsterdam, so my flight back was to the Netherlands, they had to wait at least 1 hour before they could depart. Now with about 1 hour of connection, I had 1 hour and a half of connection. So this was not the good news for starting the morning. This was 5 a.m. for me. And that means first flight started late. I arrived in Amsterdam. I raced to the gate of the second flight, already giving. And it's kind of like it's the perfect movie scene where you get to the gate and you see the jetway disconnecting from the airplane as the gate was closed. So I had to stay in Amsterdam for another day before I could come back because many flights were disrupted. So that was what was going on. Just a couple of notes that I had here. Ron, your second camera wasn't sending audio, so I don't know if when you switch to the second camera, what you might have to do with the audio. So something to check. Bob, audio was pretty good, so all good there. And thank you for the report early on. Bob noted that I have a new device, just like Wade usually uses. And so let me just do a quick.
So this is still me, 87NP, with just a slightly different voice. That's a voice modifier.
Let me go back to the original voice. So this is a new $35 gadget from Amazon that allows me to control the microphone, and then it comes with all these additions. Richard heard good, and hope all goes well there on the dialysis. Your audio was coming just fine. And James, both audio and video were really good, and looking forward for the new AI term. I hope it's not outage. Because that's what a lot of us are experiencing lately. I'm sending it back to Dave, Net Control from 87NP in Clydesdale.
'87NP, thanks with that. I did like your helium voice. That was kind of interesting. It's so typical of the helium voice pattern. So anyway, this is Dave, KD7ZYM, and again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. And it's good that Ron has got his brother-in-law's TV backing up, and Bob at Fort Flagler. That's pretty. And Richard checking out all of the series of what's going on. And Carlos, welcome back from Portugal after being gone, but you know, also tagging 300 different stations in Europe on radio. That's pretty good, and 46 confirmed contacts. So you've done very well with that. And as I said, in Game 5, Blue Jays took over 6-1 as a final. And for me today, I went up to Costco, to the North store, the commercial store. Oh my, talk about buying things in bulk. They must have had 500 different varieties of water that you could buy and different types of drinks, non-alcoholic, and it was just unbelievable. And then for the candy and snack market, just unlimited. It just goes on and on and on. Anything you've ever thought of buying. Of course, the supplier for commercial stores, and so all of that is available there. So anyway, that was kind of interesting. But outside of that, I did get rid of about 6 Apple boxes worth of stuff to Goodwill. So I'm winning that battle. So it's just a fraction of what I've collected over 30 years at this house. I can't believe how much you buy a big house and then you go to fill it up with things, I think. And so I'm full, so it's now getting thinned out, so I'm proud of myself for doing that. So that's about what's happening here in Lake City. I've got 50 degrees and it's clear outside. So with that, I'm going to send it back to Ron, KD7QKU in Tacoma.
Okay, thank you very much, Dave. Hello to the group again. Well, I bought a little converter. It's I don't know if you can see it. But I guess I didn't pay any attention when I ordered it, and I wanted the BNC connector to be the input and the HDMI to be the output. And it's just the opposite. The HDMI is input and the output is BNC. So I just placed an order for another one. I don't know if it would work if I hooked it up, you know, backwards or not. What do you think, Carlos? You think it would work? Yeah, I don't know either. I was going to try it, but then I couldn't hook it. I couldn't hook it up. I need a double male connector to hook the two things together. So anyway, I ordered some of those too. So I'll have it in a day or two, and I'll see.
You might want to try the connector from the BNC to the RCA on the transmitter instead of the HDMI, because it's probably just composite video. I would probably try that first.
Oh, that's an idea. But I kind of like to use the switch I have up here, and it's a HDMI switch. So I don't know. I could switch, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, you're right. I probably could hook it to the transmitter. No, to the receiver, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, whatever. So anyway, apparently I didn't pay much attention when I ordered this a long time ago. 6 months ago, I guess. And I just taken it out of the package a minute ago. And then I realized that it was not going in the right direction. So, you know, $10, I got another one. Big deal. So anyway, let's see what else is going on. I don't know what else is going on. Carlos came over yesterday. He's the lawn sprinkler guy, and he hooked up his air compressor and blows the water out of my system every fall. So he came over and did that yesterday. That was nice. I don't think it's going to freeze till December or January, but it's nice to have it done. He probably has some spare time. I think when he does it, he goes around and blows out lots of people's systems, because he puts in, I think, lots of systems. And then while he was here, my sister-in-law likes my automatic sprinkler system, and she was wishing for one at home. I said, well, Carlos could put one in for you, no problem. So I mentioned that to him, and then I called her and told her that I mentioned, so she was going to get together with him and see what it would cost to have him put a system in at their house. So they have a pretty big yard. She's mainly wanting to water the shrubbery and the flowers. I don't think she cares so much about the grass if it turns brown, but while you're doing it, might as well put in a couple of sprinklers to water the grass. So we'll see what happens. I guess I have Corvette Club meeting on Saturday night, so I won't be on the net on Saturday night. We meet at the Black Bear restaurant down on Pacific Avenue South. Really pretty good food and reasonably priced. You get too much. You really do. I ordered a salad the other day and I could have made a meal out of it. And then, so they have smaller portions, so I ordered a smaller portion after that. So let's see, what else is going on? Not too much. We're going to a wedding, if you can. So Joanne has a friend that's her age, and their mothers were in the hospital at the same time. It comes someplace up in North Seattle, and they delivered at the same time. So they say they were friends before they were born. So I don't know. But anyway, her husband died a few years ago, and she's going to get married again. She met some guy at the retirement center, and she's going to get married in the church and have a big deal. I hate to say it, but I think that's a little ridiculous. I mean, if they want to get married, as far as I'm concerned, that's wonderful, but I don't think they have to have a big church wedding and a reception. I mean, come on. One time's enough. A lot of people, when they get old like that, they live together, but they don't necessarily get married. So I don't know. Sylvia has always been one for the dramatic flair, so I can understand why she wants a big wedding, a big dramatic thing. Okay, that's enough for me. Back to net, KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, thanks for that. And again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on 2 meters. And let's go to Bob, K9PQ.
Okay, well, thanks. Well, first thing I want to do is put a question out to generally everybody, I guess. Some of the audio I'm hearing is garbled, and it's not all just from one person. So I'm not sure if you guys are hearing it garbled. It could very easily be just that, my bandwidth limitations are causing the problem here for me locally. But at least on my Echolink connection, basically, I believe I'm hearing what 2 meters is hearing, or I should be hearing what 2 meters is putting out. So let me know if any of you hear that as well, or I'll look into maybe doing something on my side. Richard, that's really interesting about keeping the Spanish out of Puget Sound. So, and that in World War I, they actually removed the guns and sent them to Europe. I thought, and now this is my mission. I'm going to go find out. I thought they still were keeping them around as something maybe if needed, but never were needed for World War II as well. The 3 forts are, by the way, Warden, Flagler. Warden is the one at Port Townsend, Flagler here on the island, and Casey on the other side on Whidbey Island. Which now I don't know if they own it or if they just have like lease rights or something, but it's the YMCA now. It's not a state park. It's a YMCA. Fort Eby, also on Whidbey Island, a little further north. does have gun emplacements or, former gun emplacements. So that's a place you could go to see that stuff. Yeah, so Casey is kind of off limits unless you're there for a YMCA thing. Yeah, James, the pass I have is for Washington State Parks. It's a $75 senior off-season pass. I would think you could still get it. I don't know if you would be interested, but and camping is then free for any campsite that does not have hookups, and $10 per night for any campsite that does have hookups. So just an amazing deal, and it's saving me a lot of money right now, I'll tell you. Let's see, what else do I have here? James, letting the toaster win is the most hilarious thing I've heard. It fits you, and it fits a good friend of mine, Bill, who has more computer parts than anyone I've ever seen, and always has the crummiest computer that he's trying to keep working because he's got all these parts, and, hey, it's only 10 years old. It ought to be fine, right? So we're always having to, he's one of the guys that I game with on Friday nights, and, he's just always having problems. It's just a running joke at this point. Carlos, that's pretty cool with the narrowband audio and the friends doing TV over the satellites, I think you were saying. And the FT8, a good friend of mine, KC8 MUS, is doing FT8, but he has a very, very limited situation where he's in an apartment and he has to have a stealth antenna, like super stealth antenna. So he has a simple loop going around the fence of his little backyard, and I swear it's about 10 by 15 feet. So it's not big, and that's how big the loop is. It just goes around on the fence rail itself, and but he is close to getting worked all states with FT8. And he's got lots of places. He got Samoa just this evening, and he gets places all over the place. Some that they don't confirm, but many confirm, and he hears a lot more. But with that loop, as you can imagine, it's only 5 feet off the ground, 6 feet off the ground, so he's doing pretty well for that. Dave, yeah, I know that commercial Costco. I've been to it once or twice, and yeah, it's pretty amazing what they have. They just have row after row after row of display boxes of candy and other things, so that you could just put it out on your shelf and open it up, and there's your display, for the candy. Pretty amazing what they have. Okay, well, that's what I have. Again, that's really cool about keeping the Spanish out of Puget Sound. I did not know that history, that it went all the way back to Teddy Roosevelt. And I'm going to look into that more. Okay, back to net control, K9PQ.
K9PQ, thanks for that. Let's go to Richard, K7ITX.
Okay, well, hello everyone again. Thanks for doing the net, Dave. So, yeah, Bob, I heard the garbling as well. And my guess is that it might be Echolink related, and other people listening on 2 meters aren't experiencing it. But I could be wrong because of all the paraphernalia we have hooked up between Echolink, 2 meters, our audio visual repeater connections. So maybe everyone's hearing the garbling. I don't know, but it hasn't really depreciated the net all that much because it's only just for a short period, and we're always able to hear the pretty much the gist of the conversation. So Gosh, I'm just looking forward. I get out of here in about what does it say? 54 minutes. I'm done, and I get the heck out of here. I think I'll stop by the grocery store. I'm kind of hungry for some, I don't know, some ice cream bars. How's that sound? I love those Haagen-Dazs ice cream bars with chocolate and almond. Man, those things are delicious. They're a little pricey, but to me, they're really worth it. So that's what I'm going to go get as soon as I get out of here in 54 minutes. Well, let's see, what else? So, and then, of course, I'm getting ready to fly to Sacramento as long as Alaska Airlines can keep their IT situation under control, and as well as the FAA workers and TSA workers all doing their thing without getting paid. So, yeah, I'm getting kind of sick of the shutdown. I don't know. You can point fingers both directions, and I'm not going to point both directions. Well, if I'm going to point my finger at any direction, it'll be at both directions, so I can't go wrong. So there you go. K7ITX, back in that control.
K7ITX, thanks with that. And for an ID, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Let's go to Wade, W7ITL in Tacoma.
Well, hello everybody. I've been out for a while, but it's nice to be back home. I was in Florida for over a week. Just got back Saturday, late Saturday, almost midnight, and encountered a lot of turbulence on the way in. And I don't know how much you're hearing of that. I'm using the other channel right now, so the signal not as reliable. I'll probably switch back on the next round. What I was saying is, was in Florida, lots of wind there as the last couple of days before I went back to Washington. It followed me. I was landing, and it was probably the roughest landing I've ever had coming into SeaTac. And then I got off the plane and drove home and noticed there was lots of trees and tree branches all over the road. So I guess I missed out on all the fun while I was out of town. Carlos, the QO100, that's really cool. I did watch a TechMinds video about using narrowband. He uses, I think his name's Matt, he uses a special setup that he uses with the Pluto. He's able to do narrowband and full DATV, and narrowband seems pretty cool. I don't know if QO100, I don't think it'll reach here for narrowband, so probably restricted to using that in Europe. Looking forward eventually to having something similar here in the States. Until then, we're just using traditional satellites. What do you call those? Low orbit satellites to do low bandwidth bouncing with SSB. As you might see, there's a few more items in my room. I had to clean. We're cleaning out the garage, and so a lot of computer gear that I had in there in my little museum got moved in here, and I'm still working on getting that all situated. So now I have kind of a mess again. So that's about all I got for this round. Nice to see everybody, and sorry to not be able to see some of the other folks, but it is nice to hear people that can't get it on video still. I'll turn it back. 7ITL.
W7ITL, thanks for that. Glad to have you coming. Join the net. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net, and I'm Dave, KD7ZYM.
Okay. Thank you, Dave. This is James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue, and I'm at 20 seconds now. Okay, so it takes about 20 seconds for OBS on this phone to link up. This is James, WU7N Northeast Bellevue, coming in on OBS Internet. Bob, I've got so many variables here, I can neither confirm nor deny that you have some special problem, or maybe we both have variations of the same problem, because I'll have to check my internet speed after the net. I suspect it could be a little low, and I could be having bandwidth issues. But on the low latency stream, keep in mind I'm looking at currently at a Windows 7 machine running it, and as Carlos has pointed out, the only that's definitely not supported, and I use the machine just for goofing around. I don't think anything serious with it because it's got no support and really no security. Not a complete crazy person. I do run it through some internet filters. So I'm getting frequent lockups on the low latency stream as well. And I keep reloading the page or resetting it or turning the audio on and off and doing things like that. So I don't know if that's any point of reference for you or not. I suspect we both have some bandwidth issues going on there. Let's see. I heard several things this round that made me laugh. Your voice modifier, Carlos, yes, that's definitely something everyone should have. What's an extortion demand without a comical helium voice? I'm sure that'll catch on with organized crime throughout the world. A prompt, okay, the AI term, Carlos, a prompt engineer is somebody who works with AI machines to construct prompts for the AI to get the response that you want, as I understand it. When I first heard the term, I thought, well, it must have something to do with like a user interface. But no, the prompt engineer is someone who knows enough software to work with the AI tools so that you get a product out of the AI tools that you want. And then you know how to tell, the next AI tool how to test the code the other AI tool just wrote. That's what a prompt engineer is. So I'm interested in your comments on that. Only Costco would have 500 kinds of water stacked up on shelves, but at a commercial center, yes, I could see them doing that. Here's a bit of trivia for you. I'm not sure what the methodology was to determine this, but in Washington State, I think Twix is the most popular candy for Halloween, but nationwide, it's Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. So I don't know who came up with that or why. I know if you put piles of either one of those in my house, I would just eat them all, so I probably should not have them around here. Dave, you are an inspiration for cleaning out my own house. I, too, have just too much stuff around here, and every day comes and goes, and I don't seem to get quite enough done. So you're actually getting things done. I need to follow your model and do that. And Ron, you can never prep pipes for winter too early. I think it was 2 winters ago, I sent out an email, which I do every year when I see the first hard freeze coming, to remind everyone. And we had, it was that winter storm. The only thing I can figure is that we had wind and very cold weather at the same time, because we don't usually have pipes bursting around here. That's very unusual. And I think there were four houses that had pipes bursting, but one of them or two of them, they were outdoors. And I mean, the people should have blown them out and prepped them. And they even admitted to, one of them at least admitted to me, yes, we saw your email. Time flies. Maybe that was 3-4 years ago, but it was a unique winter storm. The only thing I can figure is it must have been a combination of wind and very cold weather with no snow, no ice to insulate anything. Let's see. Converter boxes. I explained this to a friend this way. I said, baseball games, you have a pitcher and you have a catcher. And when you buy these clever boxes from China, there's usually a pitcher side and a catcher side. And just like in the baseball game, you can't expect the pitcher to do the catcher's job, or you can't expect the catcher to do the pitcher's job. So when they say input and output, my experience has been they generally mean that. It would be sort of like a baseball game where a pitcher stands behind the batter, and then a pitcher also stands out in the middle of the field. I'm sure there are simple boxes like that, but generally speaking, I know for a while, it's hard to imagine this today, but I actually made a living designing some of these things like, TTL to RS-232 interfaces with certain protections on them and such. And yeah, everything went one way, and then you had to build something else to make it go the other way. So maybe there are some out there that go both ways. Let me know if you find one. But I think the one you sent over on the group text channel, that seems to be what you're looking for. And that's what I would get. So, oh, yes, and Ron, you're a perpetual romantic. What can I say? You made me laugh. Getting married is a big deal, I think, and I don't care what age you are. If you can make it a big giant party, I'm all for it, especially if you invite me to the giant party. That makes it even better. And Bob, audio garbled. I think I covered that already. I think you could be having bandwidth problems, and that could be the same problem I'm having. I did get some stuttering audio earlier in the net, but the audio actually has come through very, very well on 2 meters. Hat tip to Wade, thank you. Hat tip to Carlos, thank you. And to Rob, you guys have just done absolutely amazing work with this. So I see someone sent a message that just flashed by. Here's a prompt engineer in action. I'll have to look at that. I'd love to hear more about that if anybody else knows about that, because that's on my list of things to do. I need to learn more about AI and start using it. I have just barely started to scratch the surface, and it's just amazing. My most recent question was I wanted to buy something on AliExpress, and I wanted to know how I could do it and protect myself from current and future fraud, and it gave me a superb answer. Starting off with, oh, it's good that you're thinking ahead on this. That was ChatGPT version 5. So it's definitely changing the world, and I think in a positive way. I'm an optimist. Bob, your thing about the computer parts. I'm trying to avoid becoming a giant computer graveyard in my house, but I'm fast on the way there. But I do have one machine that is a serious, I think it's Windows 11 machine is I think what we're up to now. And that's the one I use for work. I mean, when I'm doing serious stuff, you have to have a serious working up-to-date machine that's probably put together by somebody other than me and not from parts from PC Recycle. In this day and age, I think you have to have one of those around the house. All the rest of them can be cobbled together. But as you can see, how many nets has it been now? At least 4. I haven't been on Discord because my main laptop sort of died when I took it to Eastern Washington. Then I came back and booted it, and it sort of works. So I'm not quite sure where it's at. And then someone gave me 2 other small laptops that I haven't assessed yet to see whether they should go to PC Recycle or Goodwill or what I should do with them. So best of intentions, but haven't gotten anything back up. Hopefully by Saturday. So, Richard, Haagen-Dazs. Yes, Costco has what I call the anorexia pack. I think it has 15 Haagen-Dazs bars in one box. You should check that out. Those things are just dangerous. I always wait to wake up with the paramedics standing over me, surrounded by empty Haagen-Dazs ice cream bar wrappers after they've administered the Chiloxone to bring me back. Those things, once I start, I just can't stop. The government shutdown too. Richard, your comment. I had to laugh because apparently one of the things that this got them hung up is Affordable Care Act subsidies, which if you just stop and think about that string of words together, Affordable Care Act subsidies. If the care is affordable, why would you need subsidies? Anyway, the English language never ceases to amuse me. I thought that was funny. Wade, welcome home. Wade, I heard you echoing on the low latency stream. You were not echoing on 2 meters, so I'm not quite sure why you would echo one place and not the other. Still very understandable on the low latency stream, but you might want to know about that. So I've talked long enough. This is James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue. Pushing the big button right
WU7N, thanks for that. This is Dave, KD7ZYM, and this is the Western WW7ATS 2-meter repeater. And let's move on to Carlos, AD7NP in Clyde Hill.
Okay. Let's make sure I mute the receiver. Audio is flowing. That's pretty good. In terms of you guys were right. This was the 87 NP helium.
This is a stronger voice than the helium one. And then this one said robot. I don't know if it sounds like a robot or not. And this is the Halloween monster voice.
So that's the full demo of the voices. I think Wade as one is very similar. The good thing about it, it's basically can control the gains of the microphone, and these microphones are quite inexpensive these days. This is just a microphone that I can have here on a boom, and I think it does a better job than some of the other attempts that I was having. So that's on the audio side. Couple of additional comments from the notes here. Bob, yep, FT8. I do a lot also on the my HF here. I'm missing one state to get to the 50 states, and that's because of unconfirmed. And it's someone from Delaware. So if anyone knows someone from Delaware that's a ham radio, I need to get him on the air. Every time that I go and find for who are the active stations in Delaware, it's a little complicated. And even on FT8, I think it was the other day, I made a contact with Wade. Wade was there on 20 meters also. It was a quite active night. 20 meters have been very active during the night, kind of from Africa to Northern Europe to Japan, Asia. It's kind of just keep sending the beam on the different directions, and now with this new beam, it's really easy to make contact, so I'm quite enjoying that. So those were the news. On the garbled audio, yeah, I mean, there's some fluctuations that I've noticed, but it's all quite readable. Again, sometimes we forget the internet, it's still best effort. And so it's not always high quality for all the different channels we're trying to use here. I think we are at the top of the hour. It was great, Nat. Great to see you all. There is some more technology additions. I sent some links on our text group on some of the topics that we've mentioned, kind of to be consulted whenever time is available. Sending it back to Dave, Net Control from 87 NP in Clyde Hill. Just 1 second.
Thanks with that. Yeah, this is Dave, KD7ZYM, beautiful Lake City. It looks like our time is running out for the net, and so on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, broadcasting and digital amateur television in the DVB-T format, this is Dave signing off the net at 8:59:30. Good evening all, this is Dave, KD7ZYM, and again this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. Take care, good evening at 8:59:30.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you all. Good night. WU7N.
Node 3, 8, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. Disconnected. Node 3, 3, 2, 3, 5, 3, 3. Disconnected.